Hello, everybody. This is the second half. Actually, this part of the program is being recorded about 9:05 p.m. A little tired here on the 1st of September. This Monday, we're approximately at halftime of the TCU. Approximately at halftime of the TCU uh, uh, North Carolina game. Great first drive for Bill Belichick's Carolina Tar Heels. Got the touchdown early, but this quarterback, I think his name's Gonzalez, whatnot. Uh, problem Problems throwing players open, running the ball. Play action's not going to work in the second half. It's 20-7. They're had a pick six in this game. TCU looks to have the better quarterback play, although it is at home, and Belichick is good at making halftime adjustments. We'll see a lot of new players here. First game as a college coach. Uh, my guess is I would go read option this when the second half comes up here in just a few minutes. So that's my analysis on this game. And just a quick take on Keelan DeBoer. Um, I think that he's hit with the reality of being the Alabama football coach. It's not a typical loss in Washington where you're going to get a little bit of heat, but it'll kind of pass. Alabama, everything is multiplied by 10. He's now realizing this. You have to make quick, decisive, tough decisions. If he even survives this year, he's going to have to make some adjustments on that defense. Too many missed tackles here. We'll see how that thing plays out, but I don't see him being this coach too long. It's tough following a guy it's hard following the guy. You never want to be the guy following somebody like Saban. But hey, the guy was playing in a national championship. Saban kind of caught everybody off guard, and they really didn't have a long time to come up with a good coaching staff. And listen, I thought he was a pretty decent coach. Had some decent players there. But it's almost impossible to get a Nick Saban to replace a guy like Nick Saban. It's really hard to do. Okay, so let's get to the second half of this program. This probably won't be an hour show, probably 35 minutes or so. But anyways, I wanted to get all the divisions in. I'm just running out of time. I want to finish this up by Wednesday and have all the teams in by Wednesday. And then Thursday, I'll compare mine to the Mad New Yorkers, and we'll have it all in for the season start on Thursday. Okay? All righty then. So let's start with the AFC South. We'll finish up the AFC. Houston, listen, Houston's had a lot of turnover here. Pro Football Focus did not like the fact that they traded off their left tackle there, Laramie Tunsil, not good for Houston. Yeah, I know Houston. Hey, listen, they won the AFC South, won a playoff game again, like they did the C.J. Stroud's rookie year. But Stroud did take a step back. Bobby Slogood fired the offensive coordinator. They end up hiring the assistant tight end coach and passing game coordinator from the Rams, Nick Cali. That's what people do. They just hire, Sean McVay's staff there. Sometimes you hit a home run, sometimes you hit an out. But either way, they got rid of Laramie. They traded Laramie Tunsil to the Commanders. They cut Shaq Mason. Pro Football Focus has them under the 32nd, dead last ranked offensive line here. They got to play. They got a pretty tough schedule. They open up against the Rams here against Matt Stafford, who, by the way, is said to be playing starting this Sunday. So I like the Rams to win that game. I'm not so sure about this Texan team. Too many losses, offensive coordinator, too many adjustments there. Their running back is hurt there, JoJo Mixon. They're pretty banged up here. And I'm not sure what their direction is. They have a defensive-minded head coach, although, hey, listen, Stroud's a very talented player. it's hard to write them off. But this team did lose to Tennessee last year, the team that had the number one pick. So it's I got them going 9-8, folks. I don't think that they're going to be a dominant team. They're going to go 9-8, and we'll just have to see how this thing plays out here. They could finish first, but right now I got them 9-8, and I will show you the rest of the of this team as I go through the through the AFC South. Okay, all right. Now, I mean, the defense is going to be there. We know what the defense is. They just got to make sure that new line and this new offensive coordinator works, and I'm just not sure it's going to. Okay, to the expectations of the Houston Texans. But I mean, hey, he won the division 2 years in a row. Let's see how things work out. Just going in year 3 of a guy like Stroud, I want to have a dominant offensive line. I don't want to be trading guys off. But we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay? All right. Now, number 2 here. Just going in order of the way this book is wrote out, not particular ranking them. I'm just giving you, a heads up here. Not particularly ranking them in the order that – not particularly in the order that I think it's going to happen. I'll give you that at the very end of going through the division. Now, the Colts. Okay. Going through those offensive line rankings, that's the big bright spot for this Colts team. PFF has them fifth best, one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. According to Pro Football Focus, led by Quentin Nelson. Mentioned Anthony Richardson in the last program I've recorded here. He's been demoted to backup. They've got Daniel Jones here as the listed starter here from the New York Giants. Picked him up off waivers there. Shane Steichen, I think he will be on the hot seat considering the fact that the passing of owner Jim Irsay. I've talked about this before. His daughter, Carly Irsay Gordon, is wanting to listen to the headset and all that stuff. She's wanting to micromanage a team, kind of make it about her, whatnot. She doesn't look good on the pictures the media's putting out of her, I'll tell you that. Looks like a difficult person to work for. But either way, the over and under for this team is 7.5 wins. I think due to this issue with this owner and Daniel Jones being your quarterback here, that offensive line could save them. Jonathan Taylor, non-offensive line, maybe they can save them. Maybe the defense shows to be better than what we would expect. But either way, I'm not so sure about all that. I'm going to go with they're going to be about a 5-12 football team, and they're going to be definitely in line to get one of these quarterbacks in the NFL draft, whether it be the Clemson quarterback or Musmeyer or Klubnik, one of those two guys particularly. I think it's going to be pretty high. Maybe Aller from Penn State. You got to let the season play out. Just pick one game. But one of those guys probably going to be in Indianapolis Colt along with the Jets and the Saints. Those three, I really do think they're going to be looking for quarterbacks coming up in the draft in 8 months. Not that I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to this football season starting. Moving right along, because it is getting a little late. I'm going to have to hit the sack here in about 30 minutes or so. Okay, Jacksonville Jaguars. Another team. Now, they did make a lot of changes. This last year, Doug Peterson was fired here. And Trent Baalke, nobody can get along with this general manager, Trent Baalke. Remember, they got him over for the 49ers. So the owner finally had to fire him. I mean, he had to let him go. Nobody wanted to work for him. So they end up bringing in Liam Cohen, the offensive coordinator, the other offensive coordinator. Poor Baker Mayfield's got another offensive coordinator he's got to deal with. But hired him away from Tampa. So Liam Cohen hired away from Tampa as the new head coach, and they bring in a young James Gladstone from the Rams here. So they got very young head coach, very young general manager here. But, they lost a lot of close games before Trevor Lawrence injury. They've got some players on defense here. They picked up Travis Hunter. Hopefully he can stay healthy. Very good corner. I think he'll play well at that cornerback position. Not so sure about at the receiver how many they actually will. I know they're saying they want to play him all the way, but we'll see. We'll see. We're going to find out Sunday. I can't wait to see how this thing plays out. But I do think, I just got a sense that we're going to have a big year out of Trevor Lawrence. I really do. This is his third head coach. I think he's realizing the pressure's on him. He needs to stay healthy. He needs to be consistent. And the little bit of play that I have seen of him in the preseason, he looks sharp. He's getting low on his throws, his short throws, because he's a very tall 6'5", 6'6". He's a very tall quarterback. Has to bend over, throws, because you got the more narrow hash marks, and you got to make more precise throws, low and direct. And I saw a little bit of that in some of the preseason that I did see him in this new offense here. But I do think that, I do think that they play well enough to put themselves at a 9-8 position. Yes, that's tied with Houston. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But I do think they bounce back. I think they bounce back and play well on both sides of the football. Okay, I think he's going to be hungry. I think he's wanting a big comeback, breakout season. Trevor Lawrence is. I think they got the players to do it, and I think they're going to play pretty well. I really do. I think he's going to stay healthy, and they're going to play. If not, this guy's going to be considered a major disappointment, and they may consider moving off of him at some point. He was thought to be the football Jesus at one. I forgot who the player was that said it. He'll come to me a little bit later there. The former Washington Redskin linebacker that works for Fox Sports here. But he was thought to be the second coming. This guy was thought to be a first overall pick after his freshman year in college there when he won a national championship with Clemson. I think he'll play well. Brian Robertson there, wide receiver. Travis Hunter there as a gadget guy. Running game's already there. Defense has some pieces there, got some help there at the cornerback position. I do think that they're going to play much better than they did last year, where they were picking fifth in the NFL draft. Okay, moving right along in the AFC South, and I think last but not least, our Tennessee Titans. Titans can only go up at this point, right, folks? Had the number 1 overall pick, got Cam Ward. But listen, I emphasize this much. I like to tell the good and the bad with the Titans. A lot of people focus more on the bad than the good. Your national media, I'm not one of those people. I just call balls and strikes, whether it's a hometown team or it's a team playing on the West Coast. That's the way I roll. That's the way people who know me know that I roll. The Titans, although they were 3-14, they probably should have been more like a 5-12 or 6-11 type of team. They threw away 2 games right at the very beginning, and the team started to fall off after that against the Bears. Had Bears beat most of that game. Had a 2-score lead on the Jets early. Blew both of those games late. A lot of that on Will Levis there. And not to mention the fact that they all that, Will Levis and Mason Rudolph, whoever else you want to throw in there at quarterback, bad special teams play. They moved off their special teams coach here and got the guy, Jim Fassel, former Giants coach there, son, who was coaching Dallas, special teams, very good special teams coach. It was coach under Mike McCarthy there to take over. But the Tennessee was second in yards allowed, only to the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, they were 26th against the run, They got a new linebacker coach. They've made some adjustments there at that position. They're just not a very deep team. They're looking at Calvin Ridley, Tyler Lockett as their two main receivers there, and this Alamar, Alamar, I'm sure I'm jacking his name up, the 4th-round pick out of Stanford, to possibly rise up and be a number 3 receiver with a Concool there at tight end there. Now, they did pick up Dan Moore at left tackle. I do expect this offensive line, and Pro Football Focus has got them, they're ranked towards the end to like 24th. At one point, they were close to 32nd. So there's a chance Lloyd Cussenberry's back at center that they could jump more into that 2019 15 range there, perhaps, and be in the middle of the league there. Because they moved J.C. Latham over there to right at his natural position there, and of course Stefanski there is a very good guard, left guard. So left tackle, left guard, center looks to be good. Right tackle looks to be good. So it looks like that they're going to be able to have to control the line of scrimmage. They got a rookie quarterback. Let's see how he's going to work out. He's had a very good offseason, very good preseason, named the captain. People like Ward. He's making very good impressions on the national media, is really talking him up and whatnot. We'll see how he plays out. I think he's going to be really well. I got Tennessee, and I'm hinted at this before. The over and under was 5.5. I got them at 6-11. Could they flip 3 games and be 9-8? 3-4 games, 10-7. Yes, they absolutely. They could. I think they'll lose this game, but it's a 7.5-point spread. They could beat Denver up there, because I don't think Bo Nix is a world beater, and I think they've overachieved there up in Denver, and I do think that there is a possibility that they could beat Denver. Okay, there's a few of these games that I tagged loss that I thought could be wins for Tennessee. For example, Denver. I think they could beat the Rams if Matt Stafford's back, Dak's up again, and this is an early start time for Tennessee. They could very well beat this Rams team, who is very much beatable because it's here in Nashville. Okay, they play teams like Seattle at home. They're playing at Cleveland. I got them winning that game. They're playing New Orleans here. Could they sweep Jacksonville? You just never know. Right now, I'm going to be conservative and say they're about 6-11. That's doubling their wins from last year. That don't mean that they can't be in 12, 13, 14 of these games and be a very interesting, competitive, going in the right direction type of organization. So, okay, that's my take on Tennessee as far as the whole division is concerned. I've got Jacksonville by tiebreaker winning division at 9-8. Okay, over 9-8 Houston. All right, whether it be division play or some other one of these ridiculous tiebreaker scenarios that the NFL has. And I've got Houston in second place. Houston likely not making the playoffs. At 9-8. Also, Tennessee at 6-11 in Indianapolis, looking for a quarterback and probably coach at 5-12. Okay, so that is the NFC, the AFC South. That's pretty much the AFC in a nutshell. Again, on Wednesday, I'll give you my whole playoff picture and prediction. And then, of course, we'll compare it on Thursday with the Mad New Yorker, okay? But I had to get to the AFC. Let's go to the NFC East. We'll start off East and we'll go West, okay? The Dallas Cowboys. Let me turn over to their page here on page 110 to the Cowboys. Well, they've been in the news a lot, haven't they? The Cowboys, now, you know, we talked a lot about them last week. Micah Parsons trade. He's been dealt to the Green Bay Packers for Kenny Clark, defensive tackle, who's been penciled in right off the bat as a starter. Kenny Clark there at the defensive tackle position. Michael Parsons with 2 first-round picks. Jerry Jones didn't want to pay him. But we know why. I mean, Jones wanted to just pull this thing and drag it out to keep marketing for the Cowboys going. He could have paid him a year or so ago and paid him at 30-something million instead of the 47 that Green Bay is paying him. But that's water under the bridge at this point. That was last week's news. I'm just giving you a preview of the team. Mike McCarthy did not want to sign back with his team. He walked away. So Brian Schottenheimer, former son of former coach there, who's now passed on, Marty Schottenheimer, very good coach, X's and O's, good at details, good at disciplinary, but in the big games he gets very tight, conservative, run the ball too much. Not very impressed with Schottenheimer, Brian Schottenheimer, whether he was at Seattle or with assistant with the Jets there. And, of course, now with Dallas Cowboys here, I don't think a lot of people want to work for Jerry. It's been under-talked about, but Jerry's at a place now where he's a lot like Al Davis was at the very end. It's going to get worse before it gets better here. With this team, although they did trade for George Pickens, and maybe they will be better against the run. Maybe Jerry does have a point there that with Kenny Clark there at tackle, maybe they will be a little bit better against the run. They do have C.D. Lamb and George Pickens there at receiver, so they're going to be somewhat interesting. I noticed they signed Ryan Bland today to an extension at cornerback there, so they're going to be pretty good at corner. They'll be decent at corner, okay. I'm not sure about pass rush. They're going to be better against the run, but I'm just not in love with Brian Schottenheimer. I don't know how long Dak Prescott can stay healthy. Just don't have a lot of faith in this head coach there, and really don't have a lot of faith in the owner right now for what they're doing. And just I don't know what they're going to do at with their draft picks per se. I noticed they went disciplined and did go offensive line there. But the over and under for this team is 8.5 wins here. And I think they're going to go under. I think they're going to be about 5-12, folks. Maybe 6-11. I just don't see it. I mean, they're going to get smoked on Thursday night when they play the Philadelphia Eagles. I know they match up well with the Giants and with Washington, but actually, they have them split with Giants and just not a very good schedule. I mean, they play Kansas City, they play at Detroit, Minnesota, they play the Chargers this year, at Denver, Arizona, Green Bay is going to smoke them in a month. It's just not it's a pretty rough schedule there for Dallas. So again, 5-12. I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to have a high draft pick. Maybe they go after a quarterback. I don't know. Maybe they go after a quarterback in 27. Like I said, 27 would be a pretty good draft, too, for quarterbacks. I think Arch Manning, like I was saying earlier, when that recorded one, that I think Arch Manning is going to be the guy that him and DJ Lagway will be 2 good quarterbacks that are coming out, particularly in that draft. Those are 2 just off the top of my head. Okay. All right. Giants here. I do think the Giants are going to be a lot better. I think the Giants are going to finish better than the Cowboys. Yes, I said that. When the Dallas just a few years ago was blowing the Giants out of the water, Giants have got some good draft picks there. They've hit, and I do think already that they've hit on Abdul Carter, man. I mean, just watching him in practice, watching him in these games, that guy with Brian Burns and Lawrence and everybody. And, of course, I can't remember the other guy's name because he's just not as consistent. The end they got out of let me see if I can find it. I'll tell you real quick. The defensive end they got out of Oregon a few years ago. Kaywan Thibodeau. Maybe he plays better. They added Javon Holland there at safety. So this is going to be a pretty good defense. The strength of this team will be the defensive line. And listen, Jackson Dart, they traded up in the first round and got him. He's elevated. Remember, they also signed Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston in the offseason, so they had 3 quarterbacks. Dart's already jumped Winston. It's such a good, very equipped. I do expect him to play at some point this year. On this offense, adaptable. The line looks better. The defensive line looks much better. Much better. The offensive line has improved. We're going to find out. They got Malik Neighbors, an all-world wide receiver there. This is not a bad team here. This is going to be a feisty team. Matter of fact, I think I didn't pick them to beat Washington, but I think they have a very good shot. This is going to be an interesting one-score game against Washington to open the season. Mark my word here, okay? But either way, I've got them going 7-10. A lot of people thinking this is going to be a 2 or 3 win team. I don't think so. I think they're going to be 7-10. I think they're going to really give Jackson Dart a lot of playing time. And if he plays like he did and he grows the way he did in this preseason and has in this offense, hey, listen, they're going to be they're going to feel good about their future here. And I do think it would be enough to keep Joe Sheehan and Brian Daboll. Now, both of these guys are on the hot seat here, just like I said with with Mike McDaniel and, of course, Shane Steichen there with the Indianapolis Colts there with their potential nutty. She hadn't made a move yet, but she don't look nutty owner there. So anyways, so I do think this is going to be a much better team. Maybe they even climb up to 8, 9, 10 wins. Who knows? Who knows how well this defense plays? Who knows how upright you can keep Russell Wilson and you're not eating too much into your depth because there's just not a lot of depth on that offensive side of the football. But they're going to be an interesting team to watch. I can't wait to see them play. Again, they're going to play the Commanders on Sunday here. That's going to be a very good game. Okay. So, moving right along here, because it is getting a little bit late here. Okay, NFC East, part 2. Okay, now, Philadelphia Eagles. Only thing, I'll just tell you this right now. And, of course, a lot of you that watch the program, you know what I think here. Only thing that's going to hurt the Philadelphia Eagles is the Philadelphia Eagles, other than injury. What I mean by that is Nick Sirianni letting this team rest on their laurels, getting complacent. Excuse me. That's the only thing I can see hurting this team because they've got pretty much all their big players. Jalen Carter, Jalen Hurts there, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, offensive line intact there. Now, of course, Lane Johnson, long in the tooth, mid-30s. Could he get injured? Possibly mess up that offensive line. Secondary, sharp, Quentin Mitchell. Who's that French guy? Cooper DeJean. French name, he may not be French. But at cornerback there. So they're good up front. Defensive line, offensive line, very sharp there. Coming off a dominant Super Bowl win, could they just simply be Saquon Barkley there running behind that big offensive line? They did lose Keelan Moore. To the Saints there as a head coach there, the offensive coordinator. That's their only big coaching loss. And, of course, they elevated Kevin Palladio, an in-house hired OC. So I got them around 15-2, 14-3. Could they get a little bit complacent and be a 13 or 12 win team? Yeah, that's a possibility. Hey, anybody can get injured no matter how good or deep you are. any team in this league can get the injured bug. That can happen. Not saying they could go in there flat, thinking that the Cowboys are going to be terrible with Michael Parsons, and the Cowboys beat them. And maybe Kenny Clark plays well and they lose this opening game. I don't think so. Most of the time that's not the case. Open up at home Thursday night, plenty of time. I think they're gonna run roughshod on Dallas and probably win by 10, 12 points. But anywho, this team should by far be the best team in the East and one of the best teams in the NFC, if not the entire NFL. Their only challenging games, they play at Buffalo late in the season. They're playing at the LA Chargers. They could lose that game perhaps. They got the Rams early. They got Kansas City early. They play at Kansas City. They go in there half-stepping, a little bit flat off this long layoff, the 10-day. I've seen that before. They lost the game to Atlanta last year off of that long layoff coming back from Brazil. They won that game against the Packers, the Brazil game, but they came in a little bit off kilter, and Atlanta of all teams beat them at home. And I suppose they've been on a long winning streak and got back on top. So again, only thing that can beat this team is the Philadelphia Eagles. So that's their preview. No real hot take there. Now the Washington, this is the fourth team in this division. Preview here. Jaden Daniels, just a fantastic rookie of the year type of season. Got all the way to the NFC Championship under Cliff Kingsbury's offense here. Terry McLaurin, a big part of that. Held out. Lauren will be 30 years old. Long holdout. Just signed late last week. He's going to be good to go. How much in football shape is he going to be in coming up Sunday against the Giants, which they could lose that game. That's upset alert right there. That's one I wouldn't bet if I were betting. And I think I would bet a few of these. And they also lost Brian Robertson, the running back, their power running back. I guess they feel like they're good. But they did pick up Laremy Tunsil, and a rough loss there for the Houston Texans. They traded for him. So they're going to be good on that offensive line. And, of course, they got Deebo Samuel there. Let's not forget about Deebo Samuel in the trade with the San Francisco 49ers. So they got Samuel there. And, of course, they've got Terry McLaurin. At what percentage you got Terry McLaurin? We don't know. We're going to find out. You hope he doesn't get a hamstring injury or anything like that. That happens a lot when a player comes back from a long holdout, particularly a player like a receiver or cornerback where they have to use those quick. Their quickness is a big part of what they do. So that is the situation to monitor. I don't like the makeup of their schedule, folks. I got them either at 9-8, 10-7-ish. This just depends on how they're just not going to be that good. And they slid in as a wild card last year, and they didn't really beat that many great teams last year in the regular season. Now they went on that run in the playoffs and beat Tampa, beat Detroit with the big one, and ultimately getting put out in the championship game. But either way, 14-3 Eagles winning it. That's not really a hot take. 15-2, 14-3. I got Washington 9-8, maybe 10-7. They're going to be borderline wild card team. They'll be fighting to the end to that. And then Giants 7-10, 7-10 Giants. They're going to be a feisty 7-10. And I got Dallas finishing last at 5-12. And Jerry is going to be looking at maybe is Brian Schottenheimer going to be the coach here. So that's something to think about. And since we're recording this game, and I'm sure we're back from halftime, let's see how bad this TCU score. No, okay, yeah, TCU's at 41-7. It's a total slaughter, yeah. So Belichick's going to have to he's going to have to look at the way he is just going back to college. They're going to have to run read option with this quarterback. He throws across his body too much. These guys look great early. They had Michael Jordan at the game. They had Roy Williams. They had Lawrence Taylor. Remember, Lawrence Taylor played for the Carolina Tar Heels. But it looks awful right now. Gary, I forgot he had what's his name? Freddie Kitchens was horrible. Offensive coordinator there. Came from the Cleveland Browns. So Belichick's got a lot of teaching to do here. It looks total slaughter there. I didn't expect that. But either way, I said I thought they'd win, and I was totally wrong. So that's the only one, by the way. That's the only team that had all the transfer portal players that was one of the better transfer portal teams that lost this week. Out of 10, the all top 10, 9 out of the top 10 all won. LSU, Florida State, those are two big ones that won, and they were both underdogs, if I'm not mistaken. Both of them won. Miami underdog, they won. All those were in the top 10 in the transfer portal, along with North Carolina, and of course Carolina's getting crap beat out of 41-7. So, anyways, folks, if you like the show, share the show. I'll be back live on Wednesday. This is Tuesday's show. I'm recording it on Monday night, and I need to get my butt in bed and get this thing downloaded. So, I hope everybody enjoyed their Labor Day weekend. I know I did. Gained a lot of weight. I got to go back on a diet, get back disciplined again. But have a good night, everybody. I'll see you live Wednesday. Hopefully, we'll finish this preview show up, and we'll put it all together Wednesday here on the Real Sports.